family, and friends. Welcome to this wonderful Seonghwa that's been prepared to honor Laura Lee Taylor Hayashi. Did she have any other names? Wonderful, wonderful sister, wonderful husband, what her mother. To start, we've selected two songs with capable lead here, and we'll go ahead and proceed to warm up the atmosphere. You know these songs, feel free to sing along, and it's very much appreciated. Let's blow the top off this place, celebrating. All right.
Let's all rise and let's all sing together and really welcome God into this place and celebrate Laura's life. Pure new life that once was sown within the garden's fertile soil, sprouting seed has now become a blossom of heavenly loveliness. Father above, Lord of all, shower your blessing upon this holy day. Bond of love forevermore. Hallelujah. Glorious day of joy. Fairest flowers of the meadow, tender buds of perfect form, now receive the gift of life and dance in the joy of eternal spring. Heavenly host, men on earth, join us in praising this day. Bless us to share love's communion faithfully. Hallelujah. Glorious day of joy. Hushed we stand in awe before you, ready now to give our pledge to attend and serve completely with an unchanging eternal love. Glorious King, mighty God, fill with your blessed grace this dearest one, holy banquet of our love. Hallelujah. Glorious day of joy. Overflowing with your love as dawn proclaims eternal life. Earth and heaven come surround the glorious parents of mankind. Gather around, sing the song, fragrant the love of the Lord. Tell This is one of Laura's favorite songs. Turn, turn, turn. So let's all sing together. To everything turn, turn, as the season turn, 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 and the time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plan, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, there is a season, turn, 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 and the time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, 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 there is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, 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 there is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, 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 there is a season, turn, 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 and a time to every purpose under heaven, and a time to every purpose under heaven.
Okay, this is a time of celebration, and a lot of it is spontaneous. We got a very detailed program here, but We have interludes, and now I'm going to call up a beautiful voice. She wants to offer a song. Let's bring her on.
Hi everyone, I'm Katarina, and yes, please have a seat. I will be singing a song named You'll Never Walk Alone, and I'd like to dedicate this to both our Auntie Laura and her family as well. I find that these words could easily have been said from her to us. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky, and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never
On the program, we have Jan Breslin that's going to come up and give the opening prayer. Jan comes highly recommended as a theologian. She graduated from the UTS. And moreover, Jan is an absolute dear friend of Laura Hayashi. It's a known fact. So, Jan, please come up.
Thank you for that beautiful song. That was perfect. Thank you. Let us create a prayer together. Dear God, source of all that is, was, will be, loving Spirit moving in and through all. How do we find the words to thank you for all your gifts, your passionate love for each of us, your magnificent designs for life and living? At the center of this gathered community dwells the holy. We are the prayer, each and all. We begin now our celebration of a life well lived, the Seonghwa celebration of Laura Lee Taylor Hayashi, our sister, wife, mother, grandmother, friend, and teacher. Please take the soul and spirit of this dear and precious departed one into the sweetest corner of your mind, the most tender place in your heart, where she is given new life and a new body. For now she is gone, only in physical form. And we pray, dear God, for the strength to remember that she has not gone far, for she is with you and shall remain so forever. She remains within us, for we are all in you together. The cord that binds us one to another cannot be cut, surely not by death. For you, dear God, have brought us together, and we remain in eternal connection. There is no power greater than you. Death is not your master, nor ours. It has been said that one person dies, the world changes. And when someone we know and love, like Laura, dies, our world changes. Our world is different. Our lives are different. And with change comes opportunity for growth and the emergence of new and deeper relationships with our loved ones, new and deeper connections with Laura, whom God hath given to us, no one and nothing can take away. Whom he brings together shall be together unto all eternity. So now, as we say goodbye to our temporal relationship with Laura, let us celebrate our new and transcendental relationship with her. For as long as we hold the memories of her love and her spirit in our hearts and minds, Laura's essence will remain a part of our lives. Nourish Laura's family and friends with your comforting presence, your grace, and your strength. Help us through our time of mourning to arrive at that place of peace beyond understanding. I pray this in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
What a beautiful prayer there, Jan. Thank you. At this time, we've got a really special reading here, and this is authored by Laura's daughter. And she's going to come up and read this. And I read it earlier this morning, and I said, who wrote this? It's incredible read. And I found out it was Yoshiko. So if you would come up now, thank you very much. She's been a part of preparing for this ceremony. I'm really indebted to her. She made sure we had the incense here. I'm going to make her burn one now.
First of all, I wanted to say my deepest thanks to everyone for coming today, for celebrating my mother's life. I'm not a public speaker, so clearly today is a little bit harder. I also wanted to read a quote that she sent me in February of this year that I think describes her very well. The free soul is rare, but you know it when you see it. Basically because you feel good, very good, when you are near or with them, by Charles Bukowski. Laura Lee Taylor Hayashi was born on March 19th, 1953, to Rebecca Borton and John Ross Taylor in Hollywood, California. Her father went to serve in World War II, and unfortunately, upon his return home, had an accident that caused mental deficiencies, leading to his institutionalization for the rest of his life. Laura was fortunate in that her mother was a highly educated woman and a veterinary doctor who was able to support them financially, although had to change jobs frequently growing up, uprooting them to different cities and states throughout her childhood. Laura's grandmother, Carrie Borton, stepped up to help them and moved in to help care for Laura, acting as a mother figure, in her words. Rebecca was a devout Presbyterian Christian, but understood the importance different religions played on the overall spiritual education of many individuals and encouraged Laura to search and study to find her own sense of spirituality. Laura attended university at the University of Iowa for 1 year, studying philosophy, believing it to be an academic discipline that encouraged the love of learning, only to realize the professors in that department only loved hearing themselves speak. Those were her words. She subsequently left the university to search for purpose and found herself living and working with a communist commune. She quickly learned the principles of communism were idealistic but flawed and moved back home with her mother. Upon returning home, she met her old neighbor, Christine, who had always been sickly but was now glowing. Christine introduced the divine principle, and Laura dedicated the rest of her life to the Unification Church and world peace and unification. Laura received the holy marriage blessing with Yasuhiro Hayashi on July 1st, 1982, and has helped him fulfill his mission in the fish business given to him by True Father. They had worked for years with Happy World and then started their own business, Miracle Fish, running it together side by side for over 25 years. In her 30s, Laura completed her college education at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., receiving her bachelor's degree in psychology. Throughout her adulthood, she applied psychology to many facets of helping others and found one of the most fulfilling methods working with trauma resolution therapy, assisting others in processing their traumas to gain perspective so that they could move forward in their lives in the happiest and most fulfilling way possible for them. Laura transcended to the spiritual world on May 16th, 2021 at 11 a.m. in her home in the arms of her husband and dear friend, Jan Breslin. She is survived by Yasuhiro and her 3 children, Matthias, Samuel, and me, and 1 grandchild, Noah Yasuhiro Montero Hayashi, son of me. Laura not only dedicated her life to the Unification Church, but also dedicated her life to loving others unconditionally. She made it a point to be there She made it a point to be there to hold hands, sing, and listen to loved ones through their difficulties, hardships, and through their transitions into the spiritual world. Laura brought an endless fountain of joy into the world and connected people to one another through shared joys and experiences. Laura worked tirelessly in understanding herself and her relationship with God. She was a profoundly loving mother and wife and taught her family patience and understanding, asking her children to notice 5 things in nature every day. She was a living poem and will be missed dearly by her friends and family. Thank you.
You know, these auspicious occasions draw auspicious people. And we have the brand new district pastor, Luke Higuchi, and I've traveled with him 2 weeks around the state of Florida. And at my old age, I thought I knew a lot, but I found out how little I know. He is very capable, and not to prolong and give a long introduction, he's going to read a statement from D.C., from Reverend Patton and Ariane Jenkins. So, Pastor Luke, if you'll come forward now, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm new district pastor, District 5, which is including Florida. So I very nice to see all of you. Many people don't know about me, but Lola Hayashi knows me very well because we are very good friends in the Facebook. We push like button each other, comment each other. We really enjoying virtual life together. So I'm so sure she's smiling, laughing, and she's so warm heart, smiling now here together with us. So on behalf of Reverend Patton, I read the letter. Sorry, looking for glass. Yes, ascension message for Lola Hayashi. Today, May 23rd, 2021, our sub-region 2 is sending a kind and honorable sister to heavenly spiritual world. May our heavenly parents welcome the spirit of Lola Hayashi into core of kingdom of heaven. Lola faithfully served our true parents and heavenly parents with all her heart and soul. She being central part of the South Florida community for the many years and touched so many lives across the nation, national and global Unification Church family. She is remembered and loved by her home church family for her deep heart and love. Her husband and children were always her special treasure from heaven. Today, we offer our prayer and encouragement to her husband, Richard Hayashi, and children, Masya, Isa, Samuel, and Yoshika. In the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verse 29, the elderly Simeon says, after meeting Jesus, Lord, now let your servant depart in peace, according to your word. Today, Laura goes to take her rightful eternal peace place next to our true Father in heaven. True Father often reminded us that just as the baby in the womb cannot comprehend an enormity of this world, we here on earth struggle to understand that life in the spirit world is indeed vast and gracious and beyond our imaginations. He went on to say, the moment we enter the spirit world should be a time that we enter the world of joy and victory with the fruits born of our lives on earth. It is time for these of us remaining on the earth to send off the departed with joy. It should be a time for great celebration. We should be shedding tears or joy instead of tears of sadness. That is a way of the sacred and noble Seonghwa ceremony. The first step the spirit of the departed takes toward enjoying eternal life in the attendance of God within his embrace. Laura, as you step forward now into this glorious and final phase of your journey to oneness with our heavenly parents, now note that your family and your sub-region 2 members are praying for you and offering you our love, respect, and admiration with all blessing and love. Sub-region 2 Sub-regional Director, Reverend Ernest Patton, and Sub-region 2 Secretary General, Ilion Hoffman Jenkins. Thank you so much.
Without further delay, I know you all have appointments later, but we are now ready to receive a message. There's 6 church centers in the state of Florida, and I have to declare that, is it Plantation? The last one. I have to say this is the most active one and impactful one because of this pastor, Pastor Joe Young.
and with gloves, you know, that's... Good afternoon. Good evening. Wow, it's a great sight to see all this love in the same room, honoring Laura. You know, when I think of Laura, I think of specific little stories and moments, you know? You know how that happens, right? And one of them is how we would geek out on Leonard Cohen, how much we appreciated Leonard Cohen's music. And another one is just how incredible of a storyteller Laura is, and how she would use her whole body to express a point. My favorite expression was when she would have her eyes at half-mast and just go, "You gotta be serious," or "You gotta be kidding me," right? Or something like that. She just had these stances that were just so memorable. And I'll share with you, I hope she doesn't mind, I'll share one of the stories that she told me here after church one day. She said, you know, I've been doing a meditation daily, and I send my love up to Heavenly Parent. I send my love up to heaven, and I imagine it as a butterfly going up, you know, a butterfly. And every day I do this, an offering, the butterfly going up. And then one day, now I'm going to paraphrase because I don't remember the specifics, but one day she either had a dream or just sort of an extended meditation where she said, actually, I had a dream where I actually saw the butterfly again. This was one of those butterflies. And then I saw it wafting, you know, and drifting up in heaven. And then it turned into a brick. This butterfly became a brick. And then the brick turned into gold. It was a gold brick. And the gold brick was floating through heaven. Does this sound like her? Everybody knows it does, right? And the gold brick was floating in through heaven, and it lands on a stack of other gold bricks, and it was building the wall or some kind of structure in the kingdom of heaven. And I realized I'm not sending butterflies, I'm sending bricks. And we're building the kingdom of heaven. Wow. What a story, huh? I could never tell it as good as her, but... And I thought it illustrated a great point. What we do, even if it's small, like maybe as small as a butterfly, has a great impact when we offer it with devotion, daily, over the course of our lifetime. And it has great meaning and impact for the life after this one in ways we don't understand and can't perceive with our physical eyes, physical ears. You know, and it's just like, you know, it's important to remember we have 3 lives, actually. We have the life in the womb, the life here in the physical plane, and then we have a life in the spiritual world. And, you know, especially the first 2 lives have discomforts, but they have purpose. They have a purpose. You know, as a physical second life person here, I might look at some, you know, think about life in the womb, right? I remember when we were having our daughter, and I'll be like, how is this baby? You know, I look at, I don't know if other parents have ever thought this, but I look at my 2-year-old now and I go, wow, that was once inside of you, honey. How did this happen? And it's amazing. It's like, how tightly packed is this little baby in there? It must be so uncomfortable, right? Wrapped up and... But actually, the baby, if you were to be able to ask the baby is quite comfortable in there. The baby likes it in there, right? And when they come out, it's uncomfortable now. It's uncomfortable. They actually, they probably would just want to stay in there. I know Alexandra, my daughter, wanted to stay as long as possible. It was 2 weeks late. Whew, that was a journey. But actually, the baby finally goes into the next world and is actually much more free because this dimension is much more free. We can express ourselves. We can play music. We can express our ideas. We can travel the world. And it's so much more free than the previous life. It's kind of reminds me of my daughter's, one of her favorite books. Her favorite book now is called Roaring Rockets, but her previous favorite book was the Caterpillar book. I think you all know the Caterpillar one. And it's the same thing. It's the caterpillar, and they go through a process, and one day they become, right, the final page, big, beautiful butterfly. And that butterfly can soar all over the world now, places that the caterpillar could never have even dreamed of. And I'd like to say that actually from this moment on, that is Laura. She is free. She's soaring, expressing love throughout the spiritual world. And it's an incredible time of celebration in our faith, actually. This is an incredible moment where we transition. Each life has a purpose where we are building the components that we use in the next world. So just as a baby in the womb is making eyes and lungs and toes, you don't necessarily need all of those components in the womb as a little baby. You don't really need a mouth. All the work is being done through the belly. But then, later on, you know the deal. Later on, actually, that mouth becomes quite important. Quite important. And that's what we're doing here on this life, in this plane, is we are building the components that we need in the spiritual world. We need the muscle tissue, the structure, the bones, the functionality of our heart, of how to love people. Because the operating system of the next world is love. That's the air. We have water, then we have air, and then we have love. That's what it all comes down to. And I can say with certainty that Laura loves God. She loves God with absolutely everything she has. Risking ridicule, difficulty, opposition, didn't matter. She loved God with 100%, 110%, I'd say. And this is what Jesus meant, right, by the greatest commandment. When he was asked, he said, the first and greatest commandment, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. And I proclaim to you that on this regard, Laura's life here was absolutely victorious. Absolutely victorious. So I'll just conclude with a short lyric from a song one of my friends wrote. And it goes like this. Give me 10,000 reasons. Sorry. Whew, I'll start over. Give me 10,000 reasons why life ain't much worth living. I'll give you just one reason. That love is why we're breathing. Thank you.
I'm not going to say next because that sounds too routine. We're in a flow here. And what it is, it's testimony time. And they gave me so many instructions when I walked in, here, that I forgot a part of them. But at 79 years old, I'm not apologizing. Because it's all a matter of heart. And I'm getting ready, but I hope it's not soon. You know, who had that list? Portion? Who was the first listed testimony to do this properly? And while he's getting it out, I want to give a short one, a very short one. 1974 in Columbia, South Carolina. Father was on a tour, Day of Hope tour. And here comes Reverend Sudo's team. And they assigned to me a PR sister, and it was Laura Taylor. She was all of 20, 21 years old. I'd never met a person like this. We went to the mayor and to the governor, and she took over. I didn't have to say a word because she was doing the job. And they gave a proclamation to victory, yes. I remember that from way back. She really made an impression. Then 3 weeks ago, my wife and I, we did a tour as a precursor to Pastor Luke's tour, right? And visited everywhere in the state and some people. We visited the Hayashi's house, and Laura was there. And we started talking. Well, I like to talk, and she actually talked, right? And oh my goodness, it was supposed to be a courtesy call, you know, Matthias, you know, and Sammy. But it ended up being an hour and 20 minutes. And oh my gosh, when I realized it, I said, Richard, this is cruelty, right? And I said, I apologize, you know, Laura, we've overstayed, you know, maybe our welcome. And she said, no, this has been heavenly just to have the exchange. And she said, my mind, my spirit really wants to go forward, but my body just doesn't cooperate. So God bless that lady. All right. So portion, if you don't have anyone at, oh, there he is. My eyesight's going also. Who? Tammy Albright. Earrings going. Oh my goodness, Sammy, you already knew this. Come on up, Sammy. Sammy or Samuel Hayashi. Beautiful.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, I think, knows that me and my mom were very close. She was special to me. You know, I always, you know, I loved her. I love her, you know, more than I can ever put into words. I've also been very touched how much everybody has just been expressing, just coming together, helping support, being there, everything. You know, there's nothing that is more meaningful to me than to hear about my mother's victory, about my mother's heart, about all the things, all the ways that she was able to connect with everyone here. You all know that she loves you very much. She loves us, you know. She's my hero. You know, she has always been to me just. I am a spiritual person. I've experienced things in life that has led me to realize that we are not alone, that we are not limited in our connection, in our impact, and the meaning that we have. And she taught me it. She taught me meditation when I was a child. I've been sharing a lot about my mom recently, connecting with, again, so many people. You know, she She taught me so many things. You know, again, I for, you know, everybody here, again, this is not my mother right here. You know, this is just a piece that she, is just, that's bringing us together. She has only become more empowering for myself and for all of us. And truly, that is the case. And I hope you can feel that. She's a very friendly person. You know, she loved meeting people anywhere she goes. Yeah, talking to anybody, everybody. We go to Publix, one of our great places where we'd strike up a conversation with her friend Debbie for the family, if you remember. Everywhere she goes, she was very open. Uncle Rodney was just recently sharing with me about how she never lost her innocence. Not something to be taken lightly. I think the world can be very harsh. The world can be very unforgiving, but still she knew that there's a still small voice, there's a child inside all of us who is looking to love and be loved. Yeah, she's with us now, of course. I just thought I was gonna. This is her guitar. We had a lot of different things. We had a lot of different songs we like to sing together. But I wrote some things down too. Let me just get this 1 second here. I also did have a book actually toward the back there. It should be sitting. I didn't grab it, but Hideyuki, I don't know if you got that. It's the pink book right there with the. Yeah, if you want to grab that for me, I appreciate it. Yeah, Thanks, bro. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, the truth is that please live her life on with us. She lives on. Obviously, this is not my mom. She is with us. She is inside of us. She is in all of our memories and all of our hearts. And she is calling out to us to come closer. That's what she would have wanted. She wouldn't if she was going out. She was able to meet all these different friends, but she's saying it's time to bring it in now, right? We're coming closer together now. This is how we're gonna become stronger in the future. With all of us, each one of our families. And this is just a really, it's just a simple book here about mothers, but I wanted to share it really quick. It was a gift. Mom, the other day I was rubbing my belly button, and it really made me stop and think. What a funny little reminder of such an important connection. A connection that reminds me of how I came to be, me. I'm sure it's hard to imagine that I was once small, helpless, and completely dependent on someone else. But I was. And that someone was you, Mom. You were there to show me my first butterfly and my first rainbow. You were there when I took my first steps, which looked remarkably similar to my first hula lesson. You were the first person to make me smile and laugh, and you were right there to hear my first words. Daddy, Mom, I'm sorry about that. It makes me feel wonderful when people say I resemble you, and it's true. We have the same shaped eyes, the same ears, the same nose. And if you look closely, you'll see that even our toes are similar. When you think about it, that isn't so surprising. I will always be a part of you because you created me. You sculpted my face with a million tender kisses. You taught me all the important stuff about our world and my place in it. I learned everything that matters from watching you and listening to you. And my, that birds and bees conversation was a real eye-opener. You shared with me all the values that make you so special: kindness, forgiveness, honesty, persistence, thoughtfulness, and especially patience. Yeah, I can go on and on and on about my mom, and again, I'm saying that for a reason. I want her to live on with all of us. I am happy. Again, it just lights up my day. It means everything to me to hear about the impact my mom has made, and I am just so grateful for everybody, again, being here now. It is very special to us, and all the support, everything that you've done. It really means the world to us all. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you all so much.
So we have, go ahead, Matthias. Well, you can be. I don't think there's an order. It belongs to he who wants it the most. So come on up.
Hi, everybody. So, sorry if somebody else originally was going to be next. I don't. Yeah. In any case, obviously, I had to go sometime, and I guess they weren't. Yeah, I did want to testify. So yeah. It's going to be a little different from me because everybody has experienced the love of loved ones in different ways, and I think for me, I'd like to share my testimony by starting with one of my mother's favorite Bible verses. It's from Matthew chapter 5, verses 14 through 16. It goes, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." So this verse reminds me of my mom for three main reasons. First, my mom was truly the light of the Hayashi family. You know, everybody, I should say, can bring their own blessing. Definitely, my mother was always the light, and anybody who's spent any amount of time with her knows that she pretty much was the light anywhere that she was. And needless to say, the Hayashi family was no exception, and probably needed it more than most other places that she's been. So it's probably no coincidence that she was placed together with us, that we were meant to all be a family together. When times are tough, we all seek the light. And my mother's love and her forgiveness and her willingness to listen. My mom could speak quite a bit, but little known fact, she could listen very well too. And it was that light of her, I think even more so for me being able to listen, that was invaluable, because we all put on a certain facade of strength and invincibility to others because the world is a dangerous place, and we are worried that if we show our vulnerable side, we'll get eaten alive. But God gave us mothers, and God gave us mother's love, because that's the side of God's love that loves us no matter what. That's the side of God's love that is always there for us, where we don't have to put on that facade anymore, where we can well and truly be ourselves. And there's been many times where the Hayashi family has gone through many difficulty, each of us individually, some of us collectively, but she was always there. She could always listen, and she could always say what she thought would help. But honestly, more than anything, she was there to hear us and to love us no matter what we said. So that's the first reason why this verse makes me think of her. The second reason is that she used to tell us this verse in our family to encourage us to seek our light. All of us have different lights. I have a different light. My brother had a different light. My sister, my father, my sister's son, and everybody else she came in contact with. We all have our own light. None of our lights are the same. Nowadays, the expression "follow your dreams" maybe get a little bit of a bad rap, because I don't know if anybody here, maybe more so in my generation, can honestly say that things turned out in their life exactly the way they planned it would, and I'm sure actually nobody probably feels that way. But the reality is, I don't know that we really have a choice. And I think it's important that we have mother's love, because who are we to say that we can be something special? You know, I don't need to. So I'm a lawyer, and you know, I don't think I need to say who the first person was who said you should be a lawyer. But let's just say when it came from her, it didn't sound like something flippant. It sounded like something that actually could be real. You know, who was I to think that I could accomplish anything? You know, if we don't have the all-important love of our mother, then who are we to think that we can be anything? Because she believed in us, she believed in me, she believed in everybody else in my family. For us, and for me, this wasn't like some kind of crazy idea. It was just something that I knew I could be if I put my mind to it and if I worked hard. And it's amazing to think that without that, I think a lot of people are missing that. I mean, everybody has a mother, but not everybody necessarily, I think, maybe receives the same type of, well, let's just say that my mother's love was invaluable to me, and I think that to all those mothers out there, actually, what you say to your children matters a lot, and you'd be surprised if you believe in your children what they can become. So I think, and I think this was the case for a lot of people, but my mother always encouraged other people to be the best version of themselves. And she was a big dreamer. So the ideas that she had of what people could be were truly astonishing. And the amazing thing is that with her, they could actually come true. So that's the second reason why that verse reminds me of my mother. And the third reason is that the light of her life and her love continues to shine. I think light is an interesting concept because the light of our lives can outlive our own earthly life. Of course, my mom is still with us, but she's no longer with us in the flesh. So what is it that we feel? We don't feel her flesh anymore. We feel in a way her light. We feel the light of her life when she was here on earth with us, and we feel the light of her love, which is still in our hearts. I think there's a reason why Mother Mary is so important to Catholics all over the world. It's because to them, she represents the mother's love aspect of God's love. And so too, like that love, my mother's love and her belief in all of us, and her willingness to listen, and all of the good things that she brought for all of us is still here. It's still here. It's like that song, I wake up in the morning to the sound of music, Mother Mary comes to me, she's still there, and we can feel it, and we do feel it through the light of her life and the light of her love. So it's because she's still here with us, and because we can still feel her, that's the third reason why that verse stood out to me when I was remembering my mother for this day, because truly she is the light on the hill that doesn't go out and that shines for all of us, so that we can be our best selves and so that we can know our Father and both God's masculine love and feminine love. So that's my thought. It's my remembrance. And of course, there's a lot more I could say, but this is what I thought of when I thought of my mother for today. Thank you, everybody.
I'm not going to say next. We're really, fortunate to have, like I stated before, Laura Hayashi's probably one of her best friends, and she's going to come up and share right now with us a little bit. And her name is Jan Breslin. All right. I've just got some more instructions. Those that would like to come up with testimonies, please see a portion in the back. That way we can get you on the list.
Laura and I are both Pisces. That means we're both dreamers. And the interesting thing is, Laura dreamed of butterflies and gold bricks. I'm half Russian, so I would go to the deep, dark places, throw myself in front of a train, you know, and all this like dark and heavy drama. The amazing thing was, Laura would join me there. Incredible. Not too many people can do that, but she did. But then she would always kind of put a positive spin to everything. She didn't stay there long. She'd kind of like go there, be there with me, and then pull me out with her gold brick and butterflies. So Laura and I would talk on the phone a lot, as Richard knows, because a lot of the time she'd be in the car with Richard talking to me, and sometimes he would join in. Sometimes, you know, it's almost like the three of us, you know, on the phone. And even sometimes I'd have to go to work, I have to do something. I'm like, Laura, I gotta go. She goes, one more thing. And it's like, okay, quick. She just, you know, we could talk, right, Richard? We could really talk. And the interesting thing was, the last few months, as Laura was getting weak, she couldn't talk like we used to. And so I would call her and I'd read to her poems from God by the Christian mystics. And she loved them. She really did. So I want to read one by St. Francis of Assisi. God would kneel down. I think God might be a little prejudiced, for once he asked me to join him on a walk through this world. And we gazed into every heart on this earth, and I noticed he lingered a bit longer before any face that was weeping, and before any eyes that were laughing. And sometimes when we passed a soul in worship, God too would kneel down. I have come to learn God adores his creation. Something I really experienced a lot with Laura was God's love. So birth, life, death, the three pivotal stages of each human life. What a gift life is. When we look out at the stars, and Laura and I went to see the Eye of God on December 21st. I think it was 2012. I forget when it was the great Mayan calendar changeover. We drove out to the Everglades to see the Eye of God. And there was always an adventure with Laura. And when we watch the ocean waves or see a sunset, when we gaze at a mountain, everything we see, hear, taste, touch, smell, all exist within the parameters of time and space. This existence of time and space is what we are born into, what we journey through, what we leave behind with our death. During the living stage of our existence, we create our stories, relationships, connections, beauty, goodness, love. Laura sure did that. And also there's some darkness, brokenness, suffering, and sadness too. I believe all these things live forever in our memories and add to the mix of our souls becoming itself. When I first saw Laura lying on her deathbed the day before she died, I said, "Hi, Laura, it's me." She smiled. I said, "Laura, you know we're standing on holy ground, don't you?" She smiled and nodded yes. The next day, when the CNA, Anna, was with her, cleaning her, she yelled, "No, no, no." As she was turned on her side with her face down, Richard was on one side and Anna on the other. I held my hands on her head, on her crown chakra, doing Reiki and praying. She seemed to relax and stopped yelling. We thought maybe she was comfortable. When she turned back, facing upward, we saw she was dead. In that moment, I felt a part of my soul being ripped away. That was sacred too. We are so very blessed by the people we love in this life, especially when we know our love was so deep, it hurts to say goodbye for now. Laura, I love you so much. I got a little more to say. I hope you don't mind. You know, we all know Laura as a very loving, unconditional, loving person that loved God. And I mean, this we all know. But there was one thing about Laura that just inspired me. Her courage and her fearlessness. When I was with Laura, it was like, wow, you know? And I always thought, she's got to be Annie Oakley's descendant. You know, Annie Oakley, for those of you who don't know, was an American woman pioneer. And when she was young, her family was living in Ohio on the border of Indiana, way out in the in nowhere. And her father died when she was very young. So Annie Oakley got a gun and went out and started shooting game to feed her family. She became a sharpshooter. You know, at I think it was like I did research, it was like the age of very young, 6, I mean, she's out there catching animals, skinning them, feeding her family. And she became well known as a sharpshooter and even traveled with Wild Bill's Western show. And she would shoot cards out of her husband's hand and cigarette butts out of his mouth. I mean, she was that good. And also her grandmother was a Quaker, and Laura comes from Quakers. I'm like, oh, if she's not related to Annie Oakley was working with Laura. I'm convinced. So Laura meant also to me adventure. We went canoeing in the Everglades, setting crab traps. We attempted to snorkel for scallops at Cedar Key, and a hurricane came, so we had to settle for swimming in the springs. And looking for luminaires at Merritt Island, just all kinds of things. But one thing I really want people to really know about Laura, one thing that she did that was really special. Laura wanted to see people healed. She knew people's pain. She always had this positive, courageous, fun person. And underneath it, she felt the pain people were going through. So she studied trauma therapy and became a trauma therapist and really helped people process painful memories that lingered and just would not go away. And I went through some sessions with Laura, and I was transformed by these things. It cleared out so much that had been lingering in my life, so much pain. She wasn't afraid of the pain people are in. She went there, and she walked with them, and she courageously led them to butterflies and gold bricks. Laura, you know what? I can't call you on the telephone, but I'm calling you. And we're still going to be talking.
I haven't called you. Why are you coming up here? It is Susan Edwards. Okay, it all fits. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm Susan Edwards, and I've known God brought us together. God and True Parents brought us together, I think, and we both love God and True Parents. So I met Laura here in Florida. I had the great privilege to meet her, and it was a great privilege. She's a very, to me, she was very Western American. She's like really an American person. And she's blessed to this Japanese person. So you get both of them in the family, and it's really interesting combination. She's really outgoing and bubbly and free. You know, it's really that kind of person she is. They have a business called Miracle Fish, and I was asked to work with them for a while. So they had fish. They sold and bought tuna fish, yellow fins and blue tuna, whatever. So I was really happy to do that because True Father, Father Moon, he loved fishing, so it was a great experience for me. And I was just brought into their hearts. They gave me all their heart. Sometimes we went out to eat afterwards, and it was really, and they really, especially Laura treated both of them. They treated everybody like family, and it was really great to go there. And I had really beautiful experiences with them, and I learned about tuna, and I learned about all the other kind of fish that they were doing. And it was wonderful, wonderful experience for me. And what I want to share is that Laura was such a hard worker. They start working in the tuna fish business early in the morning, maybe around 4 sometimes, to pick up the fish and bring them in. And they leave very late because they have to get rid of all the fish that came in. They have to send it out. So it was she worked like incredibly hard. And then they go to different places to find out about different parts of the business. And Laura was always there for the adventure. They went up north. They went all over the place to learn about what was available in the market. So they served Japanese restaurants, and I did some of the sales. That's what I did, and I loved it. I really loved it a lot. I had a very good time learning about Richard, learning about the family, and it was beautiful. Well, that was one thing that was really, really special for me, to see her working so hard and loving it. She loved the people. She's a people lover. She loved me. That was great. I'm an only child, like she's an only child. So I had that in common with her. So one of the things when you're an only child, you have to love everybody because you want everybody to be your brother and sister that you never had. So that was very, we had that in common. And I remember even recently, like maybe about 3 months ago, I talked to her, and she wanted to go work in the, back in the business. And I was shocked. I said, why don't you retire? I mean, you put in so many years, to do this business that Father Moon asked you to do, but now it's time to retire, move on from it. But she was ready still to go on, and that's really amazing, She always had that, loved the business so much, And another thing, then one time she asked me, I really need you to do trauma counseling with me. Because she had to get her accreditation, so she needed people to do it with. So I had plenty of things. I had plenty of material for her. I'm a Hungarian refugee coming from a communist country. So I still remember at the age of 7 going to the border, fleeing. Pretty much similar kind of story as True Mother, because she had to flee from North to South Korea. So we had to flee from the communists too. We went to Austria. So I went sometimes on piggyback riding. That was in October. I still remember very well. So that was nice, a nice story for her to go through. And she just sat there listening to these stories that I had. That was just one story. There are more stuff. But anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. And she just sat there and listened while I shared the story, crying my head off about the situation. And then I said to her, look, this is a lot of negative stuff I'm giving to you. I don't want you to do that. I don't want to do this to you anymore. This is too much, for you to take. You have to process it or something. But she completely wanted me to do it. She said, you have to do this for me because I need my accreditation. So I did it. I did more with her, and I went over and over some of these things, and she just took it. And it really helped me a lot. And a lot of tears. I went through a lot of tears with this. And she took it. She just calmly listened and listened and listened. She was amazing to me. She's a real sister, So I really appreciated her doing that to me because it really helped me a lot to go over it. And I didn't even realize it, that this would help me to just, do you want me to repeat it again? Really? I already repeated it 5 times. You want to hear it next time? And she said, yeah, I want you to go through it again. So this went on for a couple months. We went through it. She never charged me a penny. And she was really sister. I'll never forget her, for doing that for me, And she really, she's an adventurer. She loved books. There's everything. She loved everything. She had such a broad interest, as you guys know already. I don't have to tell you that. But she really had she could strike a conversation with anybody, be their best friend, She just loved people so much, and she had such a big heart. And to tell you the truth, I'm older than her by 4 years. I'm actually her elder sister. But a lot of times she was like my older sister, That we exchanged like that. And I'm really grateful for her. And that's just the body over there right now. Laura, you use your body more than enough. And you were really a fighter with that body. Even for 5 years you were fighting to stay alive longer. But now you're staying alive in the spirit world. It's a whole new thing. And you could just move and go to explore so many things that you couldn't explore here. You explored in a limited way here. But over there, you really be able to explore. You really be able to go meet with amazing people like True Father Moon, for people who don't know, and Jesus, and you can meet all your ancestors, and have all these conversations, and so many people you could visit, and so many planets you could visit, and so many animals you can hang out with because your mother was a veterinarian. So now you can hang out with your old dog over there, and you just, the sky's the limit. Okay, thank you very much. Can I say something? No. Thank you. I didn't have a song ready.
All my life, before the church especially, I was looking for a true sister and a true brother. She, besides from my wife, really was my true sister. I had a lot of trauma also. Trauma before the church, trauma in the church. But no one I could really share my heart with. No one who could really understand what I was going through. But Laura was the first person who I could really open up my heart to freely and openly and feel some type of liberation. Through my relationship with her, I was able to become a better human being, a better husband, a better brother, and I can become a better instrument for God to use. Because she helped with the healing process. It was an ongoing process. But she helped me make a major breakthrough in many, many different ways, especially my relationship with Susan. Susan's an amazing person herself because she said when she first met me, she was shocked. What am I going to do with this guy anyway? How am I going to manage this relationship? Because the first time she ever saw a person of color was when she's going from her country, Hungary, to Austria. She met a person of color for the first time in her whole life. So it was a big challenge in the terms of cultural differences, racial differences, ethnic all kinds of differences. But through the healing that I received, together we could make this a victorious relationship. So I owe this to my sister, Laura, who showed me what it means to have a true sister. So God bless you and thank you very much.
I just got a surprise. Gunther Freistetter should come up and introduce the next individual that wants to share something. This is incredible because there's a man here, Dr. Lanigan, that actually was so involved years ago. Gunther, they were in the business arena, and a very wise man. We always loved hearing you talk and communicate with us and taking the time. So please come up and share now.
Richard, Mateus, Sammy, Yoshika, thank you for sharing the life, the liveliness, the inspiration of your wife and your mother with so many of us who considered ourselves to be extended family, one family under God. Laura's time among us exemplified being the change she perceived and believed was possible within each of us. I first met Laura through the good friends and spiritual presence of our brother and his wife, Gunther Freistetter and Lisa, and their children. In the midst of a program that was called Summer of Service, nearly 20 years ago, boy, in Miami-Dade County that evolved into Service for Peace internationally around the world. Laura Hayashi was a clear and present provocateur, perpetrator, perpetual optimist, and effervescent sergeant at arms. You know what I'm saying? From projects in Jose Marti Park, Liberty City, and what is now Miami Garden City, Laura's dream team and trio of junior community change agents, Matthias, Sammy, and Yoshika, were activated, acclimated, well-fed, and very hard-working role models for everyone among whom they were active in elevating our community. Laura had a sense of duty, responsibility, and gracious community engagement among very divergent members of our community. She had a sense of humor, that's for sure. One day, when we were conversing, as she was distributing delicious food among volunteers, we discussed what was philosophical and what was spiritual. Not something I usually discussed in the middle of a community project. I discovered we had a supernatural affinity, I thought. Well, she asked about my enthusiasm for the Unification Church, and I quickly responded, being Irish American, what's not to like about anyone living for the sake of others? And she looked at me with a quizzical, stern, provocative, and humorous expression, and she said, you do know I believe in living for the sake of others. Laughter has no accent. Shared laughter reflects shared insights from new perspectives. Laura's theology was operative in what she did, obviously endorsed by what she believed. I was very enthusiastic. And in service, I got to know Richard and Laura's uniquely awesome children, uniquely distinct as each of them exhibited and shared so poignantly today. First as volunteers in the community, and then as, yes, I still use that word, not students, but scholars, okay, who would give the privilege of Miami-Dade College's Honors College their presence and their, not just participation, but exemplary performance, earning their associate degrees there. No one's perfect, but Laura believed everyone was perfectible. And each one of these children evolved through family, service, education, and life experience to be exemplary sources of pride to each other, to their mother, family, and community. Wow. In life, I believe self-aware, spiritually informed and inspired, competent and confident, loving individuals may choose to be candles or mirrors. Candles are a source of light. Mirrors can be a reflection of life. Laura was both a candle and a mirror in her family, community, spiritual family. Thank you, Laura, for sharing your life with those of us in your extended family. Thank you.
Okay, leading question. Is Velma Eason in the house? How do you guys know ahead of time I'm going to call you? Come right up, Velma. I'll light it for you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. And again, on behalf of the family and myself and my family, I thank you all for coming. And I'm sure you couldn't stay away from this very important celebration of Laura's life. Okay. I would like to share a few things with you quickly here. And I will begin with a piece that I wrote because of the relationship that my family had with Laura and her family. Celebrating the amazing Mrs. Laura Taylor Hayashi. The year was 1993. I took my sons, Aaron and Royal, and flew home to Detroit to visit my mom and family. It was a well-needed vacation as I was still recovering from an almost life-ending car accident that we experienced in the summer of 1992 while on vacation. During the 1993 visit with my mom, who was a very spiritual, holistic massage therapist, she invited me to attend a unification workshop with her. And of course, I did, because my mom was a God-filled soul from whom I learned so much. At the end of the week-long workshop, there was a unification picnic, which we attended. It was there that my mom introduced me to Lorman Likes, a unification member who had lived in Washington, D.C. When he learned that I live in Miami, he told me that he had a very good church friend who also lived in Miami, and he gave me her name and number and encouraged me to call her. That friend was Laura Taylor Hayashi. Shortly after I got back to Miami, I hesitated, but I called Laura. I hesitated to call her because she didn't know me, and I felt it somewhat uncomfortable calling a stranger. But after I prayed about it, I made the call. My fears dissipated. She was very warm and friendly and immediately invited me over to meet her husband and her 3 children, Matthias, Samuel, and Yoshika, in the Moors where they were living at the time. Not long afterwards, I took her up on the offer, made the drive, and met the amazing, most gracious, and spirit-filled woman, Laura Taylor Hayashi, and her children. Richard was not home at that visit, but I got to meet him later, and then they got to meet my sons. And so the story goes. We became lifetime friends, soul sisters, and our families became intertwined and grew up together. In one of my first experiences with Laura, God revealed to me how spiritually rooted Laura was when I shared with her that I was having a hard time processing a conversation I had with my church minister, whom I had taken classes from. I told the minister my account of my car accident that my sons and I were in, and the minister sternly said to me, "That's not what happened." And when I told Laura about it and expressed my confusion and resentment that my associate minister had discounted my experience, Laura asked me to wait a minute. She went and she got a thin book by Nora Spurgeon, and she told me to read it. That book completely validated my account of that accident and let me know that the white light tunnel experience is real and has been experienced by numerous other people, which is why Nora Spurgeon wrote the book. Throughout the years thereafter, Laura and I shared many books, discussed them, read them, and the whole bit. As the years passed, we raised our children together. We went to church services together, to God's Day celebrations together, boating, fishing together, attended Reverend and Mother Moon speeches and events together, went jet skiing, and to the youth fair together. Richard would take my boys with him and his children on neighborhood walks, hand in hand, okay? When Laura went to D.C. For a Thanksgiving church event in 1997, my sons and I stayed at the house, and I kept the children while Richard was working. It turned out that God truly planned the sequence of events because Laura was able to console me when she returned, since a close friend of mine had died over that holiday weekend from injuries suffered in a car accident. Okay. As you may know, Laura and I were both teachers. And so we collaborated on lessons, strategies, techniques, and materials. My children went with her children to some of the homeschooling activities. Aaron, my oldest son, worked at Miracle Fish occasionally to help out with the business. Samuel came to Allapattah Middle School when I was teaching there with his weight team and gave a very touching presentation. At some point, Laura and I discovered that we were both poets, and we shared our written pieces with each other. We spent much time praying together. I visited Laura's mom in health and sickness. Laura visited my mother in health and sickness. We visited each other's friends, and in fact, she spent time with me and a close friend who moved to Orlando shortly after we had visited with her, and she passed away a few months later. She remembered Laura, though. Okay. Laura also introduced me to the Family Federation of World Peace and to the Women's Federation, of which I became a member. And I attended many events with Laura. She made connections so that I could attend a sisterhood ceremony in Washington, D.C., where I was matched with a Japanese sister. Sometime thereafter, our families went to the Murakami Museum and Japanese Gardens, and where we were able to experience an Oban festival, which was wonderfully enriching on Japanese culture and customs. In the summer of 1999, I took Samuel and Matthias on a vacation with us to Orlando to allow Richard and Laura some quality time together. Okay. I was honored to write reference letters for Matthias and Samuel in 2006 and 2008, respectively, to help them get into the Honors College at Miami-Dade College. My sons and I were present to celebrate both of their graduations from the college, and we hung out with the family in Gainesville to help them celebrate Matthias's graduation from the University of Florida's Law School. I got to attend a ceremony honoring Laura when she completed her trauma training. I was at the baby shower for Yoshika, and shortly after Noah was born, I met Laura at Yoshika and Armando's place in South Miami and spent about 4 hours there with them and the dog. Okay. Richard and Laura came to support me and my family at my mother's memorial service and brought a beautiful heart-shaped wreath. I won't forget it. In 2017, while I was sharing the devastating news about my twin sister going through stage 4 breast cancer with Laura, she shared the news with me that she too had been diagnosed. Thereafter, she spent valuable time talking with my sister, discussing various treatments, and sharing helpful information with her. Besides myself, Laura was the last person to see my sister alive when she took time out of her busy schedule and went to the hospital to visit Vera as she was making her transition on September 16th, the same day as Laura, in 2018. Little did I know that when we met that we were both born in 1953. All three of us, in fact, my twin sister, I, and Laura, okay, my soul sister, okay, and that we would go through many, many life experiences together. Nor did I know at the time what an incredibly amazing woman Laura was. Genuine, loving, kind, smart, witty, clever, honest, sincere, dedicated, amazing, adventurous, articulate. There's not enough words in the English language to paint the true picture of Laura. Today, I ask that you join me in celebrating the life of God's angel, Laura Taylor Hayashi, whom he sent to us for his chosen time, 68 years. And in closing, I would like to share with you a piece that Laura gave me at some point when I was kind of down, and it is a piece by Mother Teresa called Do It Anyway. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, people will win you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. Thank you.
Yeah, you know your time, don't you, Jackie? Okay, come forward. This is Jackie Aida, and the last name's very easy. IDA. I couldn't remember that.
So we all have a lot of stories about Laura, and she was a sister of the heart. So I'm just going to tell you briefly how I met her. I moved here to Miami almost 30 years ago. I had been in the church in Alaska for years. Then I worked at headquarters with Tom Walsh for IRF. And then I came here and I didn't know a soul. So I had one baby, about 4 months old, 5 months old, and I came to church, and this woman tracked me down. I went home, and I get this call, and she's like, "Do you remember me from church?" And I'm like going, "My name is Laura. I would like you to take care of my baby for 2 weeks while I go to Russia." And she didn't even know me, you know. So I was like, well, maybe she should come to my house and visit me first, you know. So that began our friendship, which has spanned for 30 years. So like Jan, we're on the phone, and thank God for cell phones, because that cord just didn't go around the house while I was working and talking on the phone to Laura. You know, we solved all our problems with, you know, faith, the church, husbands. We both have Japanese husbands, right? Who understands the Eastern mind, you know? So, yes, we would laugh, we would cry. We had 2 daughters who ended up becoming best friends. We went to Orlando and celebrated birthdays. We went to New York City and celebrated birthdays together. Keiko, Sarang, Laura, Yoshika, Valerie, and I. And we were, we just enjoyed each other's company. But my favorite memory of Laura, we went to the seminary for a matching workshop, and we decided to go together. And so we shared a room. Of course, Laura was very familiar with the seminary, and I had actually worked there while my husband was finishing up, with his studies. So I worked at the Apple Cottage. But I was there mostly in the spring and summer, and it was fall. It was a beautiful October, and if you've ever been to northern New York State in the fall, it's one of the most beautiful places in the United States. So we had done everything that we were supposed to do. It was late at night, and I couldn't sleep. And I got up, and Laura said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I need to go out and get some fresh air. I need a walk. I want to look at the stars." You can't see the stars here in Miami like you can when you're up in the north, like in Alaska, upstate New York. So she and I took a walk. And she was familiar because she joined the church a lot earlier than I did. She had so many stories of father and the seminary. And we walked along this dirt road and then went up this path that was Father's path. And we looked at the stars. We shared our hearts. And just the smell, the color, even though it was a dark night and you could see the stars, there was still some light from the moon. And we just walked hand in hand down the path. And we're going hand in hand still, my sister. So she was an exceptional human being, an exceptional friend, an exceptional mother, and she will live eternally in our memories.
Boy, I'm getting enriched. Testimony by testimony. Are you next, portion? Are you yourself next? Really? Oh, you're on the list? Okay, come on.
It's a exclusive list. Sorry. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a recent history of Laura because I feel like we heard a lot of her upbringing and her movement joining. But I remember my auntie Laura, and I remember Yastaka always making fun of me because I don't know if I'm saying it right. The words Auntie Laura. She was part of our lives, and a lot of us second generation in our church, because she was really involved in youth ministry. And God bless her soul, because we were not an easy crowd. I remember, and I came in, I barely spoke the language, but I loved the people that were skipping Sunday service. I'm not gonna name names, but I think you know who they are. And we did not make her life easy. But I don't think it ever bothered her. She was always smiling, always happy, cheerful, and kind of always trying to drag us back into our Sunday school. And she would always be singing in the morning to wake us up in a workshop. And it was really hard to be mad at her, but it's so funny, and it's such a great way to wake someone up in a youth workshop. Just sing to them. And she was really part of my upbringing, I guess, middle school and high school. And, we have a production now at our church today with our format and a lot of emphasis on music. But I think it's fair to give her credit that she was one of the ones that pioneered it. In the beginning, we had our old traditional way of doing service. And Sam and I, Yas and Takto and Miyuki at that time, we were kind of trying to change it up a little bit. And I think she drove and encouraged us to put more of current music, if you will. And she helped me buy my first set of drums. And that was a lot. That was really meaningful for me because I've been wanting to play for many, many years. And I'm proud to say to this day, I play for this church. And I feel like that wouldn't have been possible if she did not nudge, because it was a big obstacle. Some of us are stubborn. So I really appreciate her for doing that. And I remember also she used to volunteer a lot for all these crazy things. Like, we had a workshop or a church event in Atlanta, and I don't know how it was done, but I feel like I went to Atlanta with her twice while she drove, and that's a lot of responsibility. And a lot of people here, when they give a testimony, they always say that she's really captivating, and it's very true, because I remember when she was driving, I was in the back seat, she would turn around to make eye contact with you, just so she knows and you know that you're in a conversation right now. It was very thrilling, but it was so funny, and I wanted to mention that because of that. So she gave a lot, and planning for this Seonghwa, I met with the Hayashi family earlier, and it's kind of funny. Richard came up to me, he's like, I have some letters that my biological dad was writing, I think to Laura at that time, and I looked through it when I got home, and my biological mother passed away many years ago, and it looked like Auntie Laura and the Hayashi family was helping them plan their Seonghwa. So I just wanted to say it's my honor to return the favor, if you will. And I really appreciate all of you guys for being here, because there's nothing that I can do, and the best thing I can do is for all you guys to be here. So I really want to take the time to appreciate that, and thank you so much for all of you guys for being here. Thank you.
I hadn't been in Miami probably in 20 years. So in this audience, I'm meeting people I haven't seen in 20 years. And here he is, another remnant from the past. Tom Byrne, is he in the house?
Come after portion. I'm glad I'm in the house. It'd be embarrassing if I wasn't. But I got a call this morning. This is from somebody. They called me up. Tom Byrne. And I said, yes. He said, this is Leonard Thiessen, otherwise known as Lenny Thiessen. I said, hello, Lenny, otherwise known as Lenny Thiessen. If you know Lenny, that's his kind of like very kind of a funny guy. He said, are you planning on speaking today? And I said, well, not really. And he said, well, I want to send you something if you could, read it for me. I said, okay, I'll do that. He put something together, tried to send it by email, and it didn't really come through, so he put it on my phone. And he said, this is the first draft. And I said, well, Lenny, I have to go now, so this is going to be the last draft, so I hope it works. So anyway, this is from Lenny, and I'm going to pick it up on my phone. Okay. Okay, here we go. Just do the steps that you've been shown by everyone you've ever known until the dance becomes your very own. No matter how close to yours and other steps have grown, in the end, there is one dance you'll do alone. These are Jackson Browne's words in tribute to his friend and fellow songwriter, Warren Zevon. The dance as a metaphor for life is a tough one, fraught with peril for anyone who wishes to avoid self-reflection. I would like to apologize for my sex up front. Most of us men are terrible dancers. Our relationship with each other are deeply impacted by our relationship with God. Laura's gift to us is that she was always encouraging us to love God. In those last years, as Laura raged against the dying of the light, she did so with her own inner light. This struggle was not a vain desire to hang on to the familiar, but rather a determined rehearsal for the big dance at the wedding feast. So as God, the cosmic Fred Astaire, releases Laura's Ginger Rogers, he does so with a flourish. As Laura's internal Joan of Arc succumbs to the flames, her family and friends gather around, place her upon her steed, and send her out of the besieged castle, send the enemies of love scattering in all directions. Thank you, Laura, for showing the way. It's from Lenny Thiessen. And while I'm here, we've known Laura and Richard and the family for over 30 years, and it's almost inevitable that we would have to be friends. I mean, we live a few miles from each other. We worked in the same company for a while. We have 2 boys and a girl, and they have 2 boys and a girl, so it was like no choice. It was fate. But I learned a lot from Laura over the years, and it was always nice, interesting to talk to her, to be with the family. We went places together. Recently with Cedar Key with Lenny and Jan, and we went to Fort Myers a few times. We've gone all of places here and there. I can't even remember all the ones we've gone to, and it was really a pleasure and something that was really something we would plan ahead, look forward to. We often went with other people together, especially on Cedar Key recently. And I'd just like to say of my friendship with her for many years has been very deep and thoughtful. And I'd like to end with something called have you ever heard of a mantra? It's something you put in your mind and you say over and over again that helps you to focus on one thing and clear your mind. And probably what I need more of is more mantras to help me focus my mind. But a very prime one goes like this. I am not the body, I am not even the mind. I am not the body, I'm not even the mind. So of course the answer is, what are we? So much more. So we celebrate today the so much more. Thank you.
Okay, we got a dynamite duel coming, and this is Saran and Kat Byrne. You're connected to the gentleman that was just up here? Okay.
All right, this isn't rehearsed, so bear with me. I'm gonna sing now and talk later. That's good. Back through the years I go wandering once again, back to the seasons of my youth. I recall the box of rags that someone gave us, and how my mama put the rags to use. There were rags of many colors. Every piece was small, and I didn't have a coat, and it was way down in the fall. Mama sewed the rags together, sewed every piece with love. She made my coat of many colors that I was so proud of. As she sewed, she told a story from the Bible, yes, she read, about a coat of many colors Joseph wore, and then she said, perhaps this coat will bring you good luck and happiness. And I just couldn't wait to wear it, and Mama blessed it with a kiss. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags rags, but I wore it so proudly. Although we had no money, I was rich as I could be, in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. So with patches on my breeches, holes in both my shoes, in my coat of many colors, I hurried off to school, just to find the others laughing and making fun of me, in my coat of many colors my mama made for me. Oh, I couldn't understand it, for I felt I was rich, and I told them of the love my mama sewed in every stitch. And I told them all the stories mama told me while she sewed, and how my coat of many colors was worth more than all their clothes. And they didn't understand it, and I tried to make them see one is only poor if one chooses to be. And I know I had no money, but I was rich as I could be, in my coat of many colors my mama made for me, made just for me. Portion is right. Auntie Laura did wake us up with. It's almost like she would kick the door down and be like this and sing Grace of the Holy Garden or whatever she was singing, or Good Morning or whatever it was. And I know everyone else hated it, but in my heart I was like, yes, like I love singing and I love her spirit. And she was the first person I ever saw play guitar, and her guitar was the first one I ever played. And I just love her so much, and the Hayashi family means the world to me, and I know what a wonderful mother she was to Yoshika, and yeah, I'll always love her, and I'll always remember her heart and her spirit. And thank you for listening. She requested this song when I came. I had a moment with Auntie Laura where I brought her guitar in the room, and when I brought it, her face lit up with the little energy she had, and I played Jolene for her, and Let It Be, and Country Roads, and whatever she wanted, and I didn't know Coat of Many Colors, so I pulled it up, and Dolly Parton is amazing and does a wonderful job, and I got so inspired to learn it, and when I heard she passed, all I could do was learn it that day. I didn't know what else to do. Sorry. So anyway, Auntie Laura was like a second mother to the Byrne kids, and we spent 10 years every weekend going to her house, and I just remember my brothers and Samuel and Matthias running to the door and naming the color controller they wanted to use on the N64, and we just spent countless hours and countless days and countless lives together, so thank you.
I was just the music stand, but like Saran said, we were at the Hayashis every weekend, and it's so silly, but it's one of the only phone numbers I remember from my childhood. I don't know why that's so hard to say, but I would call up Samuel Matthias every weekend, and I'd be almost afraid to ask, but I'd be like, hey, can we come over this weekend? The answer was always yes. So Auntie Laura always had us in her home, always preparing us food, always singing for us in the mornings. I remember sleeping on the futons with Samuel Matthias, and she would come in singing her songs for us, and we wouldn't want to get up. So we'd be stubborn and we'd keep sleeping, and she would never yell, get up. She would never, come in and try to shake us awake. She would always just keep playing her music, and eventually we would get up, Very different from my father's style, God bless him, but he would turn on the light when me and my brother were sleeping in the room, turn the fan off so that it would get really hot. And of course we're stubborn at home too, but eventually it got too warm, so we would have to get out of bed. And that's my father's style. That's kind of my style too. But God bless Auntie Laura. God bless the Hayashis. And I love you guys.
This gets better and better. You all got plans up to midnight? All right. There's a very special person here. Everybody in the room is special, in my opinion. But there's a young lady. She's not sitting next to her husband. So, oh, here she is. She joined the unification movement in Finland when she was 16 years old. Can you believe that? Is that right? I'll do it for you, yeah. It's the least I can do to make up for lost time.
So I couldn't let this pass not to say anything to Laura. She was the first person I met beside my husband in Miami. When I came here in 1986 to Miami, and I went out with my husband, we went shopping, and we met Richard and Laura in a shopping center. I don't know if you remember, I always remember. And I felt like Laura, she's true American. She's so American, and I'm so new in America. I don't know how Americans are. Oh, that's how Americans are. And yes, I learned her so much because our children, our boys, and the Byrne boys, and the Hayashi boys, Matthias, Samuel, and Jessica, I don't have daughter that age, but Matthias and Samuel came to our house a lot also. And I remember usually, when they came, and Samuel they would play hockey in the living room, and the couch was the goal, and it was wild, but it was so much fun. And our boys went a lot to Hayashi's, and they are fond memories. And I thank you for Laura because she had so much knowledge. I always felt like she knows everything, and I always felt like I don't know anything. I don't know those books, I don't know those movies, and I just learned from her so much, and just to appreciate that she was so loving to anybody, that there were no judgment ever to anybody. Like there's so much to me to still learn from her and from her legacy, and that's the reason I came here, because I need to honor her. What she did for me, our family, for our children. I want to thank you for our children, that there was such a friendship. And Richard, we are here for you, and Hayashi family, if you need anything, we are here because we are all one. And I know that Laura, she's in the light. She's gone there to the light. And her love is with all of us. So thank you, and God bless you all.
We have a special treat that's been integrated into the program. Randy Francis is head of communication at our central control up in D.C., has a video. So, Portion, your tech people are ready to roll.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, especially the Hayashi family and friends. We're really grateful to be able to take this time just to reflect a bit about my personal experience with our dear sister Laura. I joined at Upshur House in 1979, and as you know, she was there. She had already pioneered many different missions, and she was the center mother there. My original spiritual parent was off at a workshop, that 7-day workshop, and Laura called me trying to get me to come to dinner. So she was very persistent. She definitely kept at it, and luckily I was someone who I called back and said, well, I can't make it tonight, but maybe next week or another time. She never gave up, and finally I came, and really felt the love and the joy from her and from all the brothers and sisters there at Upshur, and the truth of the principle. And I'll never forget those early days. And she endured with me through a lot of different activities that went on. Of course, I went on a 3.5-year fundraising and witnessing course, and eventually came down to Florida even during those early days. So I have some connection to Hollywood there. In fact, my wife and I, Kumiko, my father lived in Hollywood in the 90s, so we went there and were able to share some of the joy of that community there. So really, Laura had a unique and a very quirky personality, which I loved, and she had studied so many philosophers in history, and she always had an answer for the questions that I had. And just in the last few years, we connected as part of the Seonghwa ministry for our sister Linda Perry and their family, and really became I learned more, about her heart and desire to really make a beautiful transition situation for all of our blessed central families. And what you were able to experience the last few months was really a few years, and then especially the last few months, to be able to be with her and be by her side and care for her lovingly, and even at the moment of passing, is such a beautiful thing. So I'm grateful that she actually put into practice what she was thinking and studying about in all different cultures, especially the Japanese culture. So just want to join together with you and send her off in a glorious way today. Thank you for the opportunity. I love you, Richard, Samuel, Matthias, Yoshika. We just pray for her and for your victory. Thank you.
But I think we've been celebrating her life in exactly the kind of way she would have wanted, with stories of love and support and togetherness, just like my mom. We're gonna play a couple videos. The first is a story by her. She's not done yet. And the second is just a really good representation of who she was. As Portion and Sarong and Tat mentioned, my mom was really involved with the youth ministry, and she continued throughout her life. And when my son was born, she continued teaching me how to teach him. So enjoy the videos.
Good morning. This is my first try at a YouTube recording. This is a song many people have heard me sing. I like it very much because it meant something special to my life, to my mom's life. So maybe I'll tell you after this song, okay? When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hours of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine on till tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, singing words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh let it be. Singing words of wisdom, let it be. Yeah, when I was little, very little, an infant, well, actually a few years later, when I was an infant, we had a lot of hard times in my family. My dad had a terrible accident and was incapacitated basically for the rest of his life. My mom was thrown into having to find a job and everything. And we worked our way out of it, and things were beginning to look good. I was about 4 or 5, I don't remember, of course. But the crazy thing that started to happen was one childhood sickness blended into another. And my mom's an advanced veterinary pathologist, so she was very concerned. This wasn't normal. She went around, tried to find diagnosis after diagnosis. Nothing definitive. Finally, one doctor ventured a guess. He said, it looks like leukemia. Well, my mom was devastated because she just endured unbelievable stress, and things were just starting to look better. But she's a woman of faith, and so she went to her prayer and her scripture, and she found repentance of all things. She said, "Dear God, I'm sorry. This is not my child, she's yours. Whatever your will is, I accept it." And then she had a vision of Mother Mary taking me in her arms, and I wasn't sick anymore. So I'm currently with cancer, but you could say I'm in the longest remission known, a 60-year remission. So I hope I can find the depth to find this kind of grace as well and have a little more time. But whatever, I'm going to let it be. Thank you. Ready?
Okay, ready.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, okay.
Good morning to you, good morning to me, good morning, in the land of the free. I love you so much, I love you so much, I am so happy, you're part of my life. Good morning, Noah-kun. This is Grandma. I hear you're going to preschool soon. How exciting. You're going to make many friends and have many new adventures. But you know, when we meet somebody new, we have to think. What do they like? Well, this is Momo. Momo can be nice, but sometimes Momo has a claw. Ooh. How do we make friends with Momo? Here's a friendly guy. Do you remember Green Friend? He makes a noise, he rattles. Here, Momo. Momo likes Green Friend. She likes it when she gets stroked. Do you like that, Mama? Look, she put her ears forward. For a cat, that means they like it. Can you think of other things that Hercules does when he likes it? He wags his tail, right? Well, Momo's wagging her tail, but with Momo, it's a little different. When Hercules doesn't like something, he might growl, right? When he growls, go away. When Momo goes, shh, yeah, like that, it's time to go away. But look at her. Oh, she says, I like it. That's how we make friends. But not everybody likes the green friend. Somebody doesn't. If they don't do it. Everybody has a love language, and we have to learn how to speak the love language of the right person at the right time. You can do it. I want to hear about all your adventures. Turn the phone around. Here's Oji-chan.
Okay, became a square here. I don't know.
Have the flower offering, and Portion's going to guide row by row, and then the family will be the last row to go ahead and do the flower offering. So here's Portion, and he will give the guidance now, row by row. Can you say more? Pardon me? What are we doing? What is it about? The flower offering is just a symbolic thing of heart that we as participants in the Seonghwa want to show. This is at least a symbolic thing. The beauty of the flower, giving back. So my opinion is you can change it from Seonghwa ceremony to Seonghwa celebration. So we're going to get that information up to headquarters. The flowers go on the table. Just bow and put the flower on the table. That's the procedure, yeah. Thank you. closing songs, so Nada and company will now come forward. Thank you very much.
Okay. This is a request from Laura's husband, Richard Hayashi. This is a Japanese song, but I'm gonna translate in English first. The title is Tears Trickle Down. I flipped through an old photo album and whispered, "Thank you. You are someone who has always, always cherished me on inside my heart. Your smile comes to mind on both clear days and rainy ones. Though the memories may fade into the distance, tears trickle down on the days when I search for traces of you, and it all comes rushing back to me. It's become a habit of mine to pray to the first star in the night sky. At dusk, I look up at the sky and search for you. My heart full, both sadness and joy make me think of your smile. If you can see me from wherever you are now, then I'll live on, believing that we'll get to meet again someday. Your smile comes to mind on both clear days and rainy ones. Though the memories may fade into the distance, I'm lonely without you. I yearn for you. My feelings for you make tears trickle down. I miss you. I miss you. My feelings for you make tears trickle down.
寂しくて恋しくて君への想いならそうそう会いたくて会いたくて君への想いならそうそう
So the closing song is Light of Grace, and where are the, oh, here we go, here we go. It's better you sing than I.
Let's all rise for this last song. Let's all sing this one together. Oh, light of grace, shining above, lighting my dim, shadowed way. Oh, light of grace, easing my pain, you have shown that God is love. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love. Though clouds may come, hiding his face, hiding the smile of my God. Though clouds may come, still he is there, shining brightly. God is love. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love. Trust in him, for God is love. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love. All things decay, passing away. Only the light shall remain. All things decay, still there is one true and faithful God. His love, I'll give my life. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love. I'll give my life. I'll give my life and my love unto the one God of love.
All right, so before we do our closing prayer, I'd like to ask you all to join our whole community on a 40-day prayer for Laura and the family. Prayer for Laura starting tomorrow, and we'll be doing that. I usually pray in the mornings, but I think a united effort on that front would be incredible. So our prayers energize the spiritual world. Amen? And if we give our energy to Laura, Laura's energy all by herself is one thing. Imagine we give all of our energy to Laura, what amazing things can be done, okay? So please join me next 40 days. Let's pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, Heavenly Parent, we're so honored to have known the physical earth, Laura, and her spirit lives on in all our hearts as we are going through our lives. Laura's life, we can't forget this point, God, but Laura's life is a victory. And we are tasked now, when we accept it, to carry on the mission that Laura gave her life for, which is to bring peace on this earth, to bring your love to each and every person on this earth. And we gladly and willingly and joyfully take that forward with us. Laura's life will be an incredible example for all her descendants, for all of our descendants, to look back on incredible saints, incredible faith that could not be shaken. So we're feeling a lot of emotions, God. But we are making the promise to you, God, that all of that we feel and all that we're going through today is just energy and inspiration and motivation to carry on with our lives more courageously and more joyfully. Help us carry on the qualities, all these amazing qualities that Laura has. Let's multiply it. Let's learn from her. Let's carry it forward to all our friends, families, kids. Let's sing our kids music and songs every morning like she did. Let's learn from all the amazing things she pioneered and taught us. God, allow us to remember those things and elevate to better versions of ourselves so that we're all conduits like she is. Conduits of truth and love, compassion, and especially joy. Thank you, God. We know that she's hanging out with you and Jesus and probably making so many discoveries and going to be with us as we go through the journey and the task of bringing humanity back to you. I pray these things in all our names, Bless Central families. Amen and adieu. I'd like to say that that's the close of our of the Seonghwa, but please remain where you are because right now we're going to have funeral director kind of take over, and we will have we're going to carry. Everyone, if you could actually be seated if you can, that would be best. Down just a hair. I just have a quick announcement. So the wajan ceremony will be held in Maryland at Laura's request. So we, just so you know, that's going to be happening. All right. Please remain where you are and make a way and make some space. Thank you.